Dorsey and Tristan Etienne, two guys that signed letters of intent today, and we couldn't be happier. Tristan is a kid that we've been recruiting for a long time. We've been watching him for a while, and he's continued to develop and continue to get better. I think he's one of the top 4 or 5 prospects in the entire country of Canada. He is a good shot blocker. He has really good hands. He can step outside and knock a shot down. But when you look at his frame, you can just see after a year or so of really getting on the weights, working with our strength coach and different people here, he has a huge upside. We're excited about that. Donovan Dorsey is a very rangy, versatile wing. He can handle the ball, he can shoot the ball. He's athletic and he's 6'6" with long arms. So he's a prototypical husky wing, we call him. And we Timberline High School here in the area, about an hour away, and he's going to really help. We think both those guys are going to help us be a better basketball player.
Now, in football, they talk about defense. They talk about recruiting and trying to keep as many of the in-state guys at home. I mean, is there a similar philosophy in basketball? Is it easy just to say, regardless of the sport, you always start with the foundation of keeping the in-state guys?
We always want to work hard to keep the in-state guys that can help you win at a high level. I don't think, whether we evaluate properly or misevaluate, if we feel that there's someone in state that because they're in state we're just going to take them, I don't think that's fair for our program. If we can get someone out there that's a lot better, then I think we need to take the player that's a lot better. But all things being equal, if someone is from the state that can play and make us a better ball club, there's no question we want to bring them in.
And you also mentioned with Etienne, one of the top 5 players in Canada. You look at Bennett, you look at Wiggins now. Mm-hmm. Is it just that Canada now all of a sudden people are starting to see that, well, okay, they can play up there?
Well, for the longest time, claim to fame was Steve Nash, and then Tom McCullough didn't do bad here at the University of Washington. But I think here more recently there are more Canadian basketball players that are showing that they belong and can play high-level Division I basketball, and also go on and play into the NBA.
Is it just becoming a golden era up there, or are there some real legitimate reasons why you think it's getting better?
I don't think it's a trend right now. I don't think it's a fad. It's something that's going to go away. I think there's an interest there now, and I think kids and those that run the travel programs and a lot of the coaches there have developed a real interest in improving and developing players, and players are taking a real liking to it. So I think we're going to see more from Canada here in years to come.
Do you think that you guys can get maybe more of those players simply because of being closer to them, sort of closer as opposed to?
Hopefully that would help. Another one here recently, not too far from here, was Robert Sacre that played at Gonzaga. So they're coming, man. They're coming, and hopefully we're pretty positive Tristan will be next as one of the Canadian players that would come here and have an impact.
Now, for all the good news, obviously bad news today with Jernard, was it, when you first saw it, was it maybe your worst fears that could happen?
Yeah, it didn't look good the way, initially I thought maybe it was called a flagrant foul because of the way the rule is worded, but it wasn't an intentional bad play that was made. He was bumped slightly, just enough for him to come down and step wrong. The fall was because his ACL basically popped at that point, and there was no power left for him to go up, so it's like he slipped on some ice. That's kind of what it looked like. There was no shove in the back to make him fall. In fact, if his ACL would not have torn, I don't believe he would have fell. So it didn't look good at the time. and now we know the results. Jernard has put his time in the last couple of years with a redshirt year in the weight room to where he was developing. I thought he was beginning to see the fruit of his labor, and it's unfortunate that happened, but I think now with the year off, it gives him the time to really concentrate in that weight room, and he'll be able to get back on the floor and continue to work on his shooting and some other things. And you know, our hope is that he comes back not only good as new, but even better.
Now, obviously he's out for the year, but is there a danger that he could maybe even miss enough to the point where the beginning of next year is in jeopardy?
I don't think so. I don't think that's a problem at all. Abdul Gaddy was injured in January when he tore his ACL, and he was back practicing in October. So this is a couple of months before then, so I don't see any reason why Jernard won't come back and be ready, not only for the beginning of the season, but for the beginning of practice.
And how's he responded to adversity?
He's trying to be brave with it. He's trying to show a good attitude. You know it hurts inside, but he's hanging in there.
Do you plan to put him in contact with other guys who have been through the same thing?
You just look at through our athletic teams. You look at Katie Collier that this happened to. You look at Abdul Gaddy, who he's already spoken with. Deontay Cooper, this happened to him 3 times. So there are a number of people that Jernard will be in touch with, I'm sure, to talk about the process, what you go through mentally, the rehabilitation process with it, all of that.
And so at this time, is there a timetable for him?
They usually say 8 to 10 months when you come back and you're 110% in terms of your strength. They say it takes a little while longer to recover mentally, where you have the total confidence and your sharpness is back and all that. It always depends on the individual how hard they're going to work to get back. And I don't see any reason why Jernard is not going to work really hard to get back. And we are really not concerned about his ability to come back, not only at full strength, but in a timely fashion. We have a lot of confidence in our medical people here at the University of Washington. Our doctors and trainers do a phenomenal job. So they'll just point him in the right direction and lead him in his comeback, and I think he'll respond the right way.
Is his surgery scheduled?
We're working through that right now, but it will be here pretty shortly.
Yes. How do you, in the front court, what's the kind of contingency plan without him?
Well, you know, it's good that Desmond Simmons is not out for the year. Desmond will be back this year. In the meantime, we have Paris, we have Sean Kemp Jr., we have Jules Diericks. I think Mike Anderson showed that if we go small, he's tough enough, savvy enough, and smart enough to where he can fill in if we go small in that regard also. So we'll find a way.
Obviously, it's never a great time for this to happen, but then you look at Irvine's size, 7'6", 7'2", they seem pretty ridiculous in the front court size-wise.
Yeah, but they don't play all those guys together at the same time. And I would imagine there aren't many teams in the country they'll play against that won't be at a size disadvantage when you're talking about guys that are 7 foot plus. So I think every game they play, they're going to be able to be in that position. We're confident in the people that we have on our team.
When you scout them, is it easy just to say that's what they try to exploit? They try to exploit their size advantage and really push it into the paint?
It becomes an issue sometimes, when you're trying to get to the rim. Obviously, they protect the basket pretty well at that type of size.
Have you announced who's going to replace JJ in the lineup?
Well, it'll probably be the guy that's sitting behind you back there. Sean Kemp Jr. sitting behind you. Yeah.
Hi, Sean.
Would you be more apt to do more of the 4 guards than you would have at the beginning of the season, though?
We had planned when we talked in August that we had that ready in our arsenal. That if we were ever in a position where we knew we had strong guards going into the season, if we were ever in a position where the game would present that itself that where we would have to go small. We were going to practice being able to play that way. We weren't able to do it a whole lot before this game, just a little bit. But the guys came through. You know, we could do that at some point.
One more for Coach, guys.
Paris is good to go.
Paris is good to go. We'll be practicing today. And again, with those two guys, Donovan, Tristan, and then Robert Upshaw, redshirting. Those are three guys that took next year. Again, that class and then the class prior with Janelle Taylor, Darren Johnson, Mike Anderson, and Nigel Williams-Goss. We look those back-to-back classes put together. We think that's going to help us in the future.
Thanks, Coach.